Hi, welcome back to CS170. We're still on the third week here. I decided to go with chapter 5 for this lecture. Decided to save the HTML for the last one. So see if this kind of lines up a bit with what you're going to cover in your recitations. So first, apologize for the chapter 3. When I was publishing the video, I I did the share incorrectly, so it didn't actually pull up the slides to go along with my lecture. So if you can just bring up the slides and then run the lecture and then run the slides along with the lecture, that should be okay. But hopefully this time I have it working, so I'm sharing correctly. I'll double check with this after this video. So we are going to be doing chapter 5, and I'll go to that in a second. The other thing I want to highlight is you notice on the lab support office hours, right? We have all of these different slots here. You don't have to go to the slot that your TA is in. So whichever one is available, just go to that one at these times here. And you should be able to get any of your questions answered. Some people have asked me about things like extra credit. When should they be due? So the extra credit that's from my class, I wanted to try to be within that same week by that Sunday night or so. Like I said in the last lecture, they have groupings for all of these emails that come in, and usually I group it by week. So if you kind of submit it like off of that schedule, then I might lose your extra credit for that week. So do try to submit to email with me by Sunday night of the same week for your extra credit. Okay. And I will be giving you the extra credit at the end of the semester. So basically what I'll do is I'll crunch all the numbers, the emails together, and it'll feed me some numbers, and then I'll just push it all into your grades. And hopefully everybody does enough for the extra credit so that everybody essentially just maxes out on your extra credit. You don't have to do extra credit every single week to hit the max extra credit that you can get. So there is an allowance there. So you just kind of make sure you do enough of them by the end of the semester. And then when we crunch all of that together, hopefully you'll just come out with the max extra credit score. And really the extra credit is not so much for you to get the extra credit, although that is helpful, right? Like I mentioned in the earlier lecture, if you get the extra credit from myself and from the TAs, that's enough to move your grade by at least half a grade, okay? So it is worthwhile to get it, but the way I like to structure the extra credit is that, and I kind of mentioned in the lectures too, I try to point specifically to certain things that are definitely going to be on the exam. So I have you kind of do it more really to kind of prep you so that you'll have your notes necessary, or you have the practice necessary to do well on the exam. Okay, so I'm not going to grade your stuff, but if you see something that you don't really quite know, whether it's a textbook question or extra credit question or whatever, you can let me know, or let the TAs know. Okay. Now, some people have also asked me about the free late policy. Um, so like I said before, the TAs are the ones that's handling your grading. So if you have any sort of questions about exam questions, or like the free late that if you need to get a free late, or you're going to turn an assignment in late, or whatever it is, you should be talking to your TAs, and I can help to facilitate if there's some sort of disagreement about a score or something like that. But generally, we let the TAs for your sections handle your grading. Okay, so if you have any questions on those, I would suggest you go to them first. And of course, there's Piazza also, right? And I've been reminding the TAs to make sure they monitor Piazza and answer questions there if appropriate. Okay. But as students, all of you, if you have the answer, you can feel free to respond there too. That's the intent of the Piazza setup, is to have the students also interacting with each other. Okay. So, and here's all the office hours. Now, for me, if you'll see down here, I'm Friday 6 to 8 at night. And if you send me an email, hopefully I can reserve a slot for you and we're good. Now, some people I know cannot do Friday 6 to 8. So, we'll try to work out some other time if you really need to get a hold of me, something specific that I can do for you. Like I said, Feel free to talk to any of these other people if you have questions about a particular topic, a grade or whatever. They're here to help you also. Generally, my schedule is pretty tight during the week because I have a pretty busy work schedule. But if I can fit you in like one of the weeknights or something like that, I'll try and do that. But like I said, if you can't get into my Friday sessions, don't hesitate to speak to any of these other people that's making themselves available also. Okay, all right, let's get over to our lecture here. So this is for basically web searching. Okay, how do search engines work, right? And you'll see all these different terms, right? So the reason why I chose to do this chapter ahead of the chapter 4 is because it's very similar to the prior lecture on 3, where you have various terms that you should try to understand. It's almost like when you study for your vocabulary test or something like that. So it's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of like understanding how Venn diagrams work and stuff like that, but that's pretty much it. So I figured let me bang out chapter 5 and then we'll work on HTML in my next lecture. Okay. So how does a search engine work, right? When you, let's say for this argument, you go to Google, right? So when you go to Google and you say, I'm going to search for ABC, whatever I'm going to search for, it's not like, it's not like a clean slate where you go there and then you say, I'm looking for topic ABC, and then Google, I'm just using Google. I know there's other search engines too, right? But let's say Google, it's not like that's when it starts to go out and look for things, right? So there's like a lot of work that happens behind the scenes so that it's kind of ready so that when you do ask for something, it can kind of return the results to you very quickly. Okay. You can imagine that if you just went to the library, right? If you still go to the books for library, if you still go to the library for books, if all the books that were in the library, let's say there's thousands and thousands of books, if they were just all laying there in a big pile in the center of the library and say, yeah, your book is here, go at it, right? Go look for it. That probably is not going to happen, right? So what happens, right? There's some way that all of those books are organized so that when you go there, you can easily find whatever topic or book that you're looking for. So in a way, the search engine works in a similar manner. Okay, so you have this idea of like a crawler, right? That's why you have this little spider thingy here. It's going through all these various pages that people want to put out there, right? Not all pages are going to be put out there for consumption, right? So in the cases where you want the pages to be out there, you'll have these web crawlers going out there and taking a look at what is it that you put out there and saying, okay, this page is about topic ABC, whatever it is. And it's not random. You can help the crawler to understand what is your page about and how it's connected with other similar types of pages. Okay, so basically the crawler goes through the page, your web page. Let's say you created a web page, does some analysis on it, right? It says, what's this page about? And then says, okay, I'm going to store it in the index, almost like, the index in a book, right? So if you look at your book, you say, oh, topic ABC is in here, and it's going to be on page 1, 2, 3, whatever, right? So it's going to be organizing that into its ginormous index, right? And then there's different ways to kind of say, well, this book, this page is about a tiger, let's say, and this page is better than these other pages that are also about tigers, right? Because there's probably like thousands and thousands of pages about tigers, right? And so you have these ranking algorithms to kind of say which ones are probably most relevant to whatever you're interested in, okay? So there's this little YouTube video here. Maybe I'll actually provide this as a link actually. So let me put this in as a link later on. So I'll post that onto my resources here, and then you can just click on it, and then you can see this little video about how a search engine works. Okay, all right. So, but this is the general flow here. Please try to understand this. Okay, this is how information is indexed so that you can easily and quickly get results when you go into a search engine. Okay. So there's a couple different things here, and we'll get into a little bit of this when we get into HTML. So this here is like, number one, when you put this on here, you see like these little tabs here at the top of my browser. That title will pop up in here for whatever page you set up. But that also, again, helps people looking at your page saying, what's this page about? Okay. Now you might come up with a title that totally has nothing to do with the page, but I guess that probably doesn't make too much sense, right? And you have all these other types of things that the crawler will also be crunching through. These are not the only things that it will crunch through, but these are part of what it goes through to try to figure out what is your page about, essentially. Okay. And I'm not going to go through these tags so much in here because we're gonna pick up on some of these tags when we go into HTML. But you just know that you have these different types of information that's HTML that helps the crawler actually, but sometimes you to understand what the page is about. Okay. Or like in this one, it could be like the picture. Okay. So let's say we're doing a search here, right? This is talking about intersecting queries, right? So you're looking for human and, see this and here, powered and flight, right? So it's three different words here, and you're doing an and, you want all of them to be together, right? And so what happens in Google, right? We keep on coming back to Google, but I guess that's one most people know. So it finds it here, okay? This will be human, let's say, as token 1, right? And then here's powered, you say that's token 2, right? And it maybe finds it here, right? And then flight is your third token. It kind of finds it here. These are 3 independent lists of stuff, right? So it went there. It's almost like if you typed into Google one time, you type human, and then it did a search here, and then you went into Google again, and you type in powered, it does this search where you get this second column here, and then you did flight, you get this third column here. Now, when it says and, it says, oh, look, rs.org, 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 right? And, right? And that's the common page in this case across all 3 of these tokens, right? And so that's why this page gets served up. Okay, this is what comes back, right? So I hope people can see what we're talking about here, right? It's almost like you did 3 independent searches and then looked at what's in common between all 3 of those searches, right? You did a search for human, powered, and flight, okay? And so if I was drawing a Venn diagram, right? And I'm going to show you the Venn diagram a little bit, right? You would say, here's a Venn diagram that has token 1, a Venn diagram that has token 2. I mean, the Venn diagram includes token 2 and token 3. It would be like 3 circles, right? And then where do all 3 of those circles intersect, right? It'll be like something in the middle there. And then that will be your result, right? And so we're going to get more into these Venn diagrams in a second, like I said, all right? And look, magically, here is like the Venn diagram, right? Human, powered, and flight. And you can see this little shaded area, that's your intersection. And that's what comes back when you do that search. Okay. So this is the key point here. And is the logical operator, right? To pull the common elements between your human search, your powered search, and your flight search together. Right now you can step into, well, okay, you can do or, right? If it has this, or it has this, or it has this, right? Which means it could be any of these, or any of these, token 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so that's the difference when you do or, right? When you do the and, you can only look for the common elements that comes across 1, 2, and 3. So as you can imagine, when you do the OR, you basically have like a much bigger shaded area, right? You pick up all of these, okay? And you get different combinations of these shaded areas depending if you do like and or, something like that, right? Depending which order you do on those, okay? And so look at this, right? This case, they happen to put the parentheses like this, but you don't necessarily need to do that. But I guess it makes it more clear for people when you do it like that. So you put these parentheses, that tells me, let me look for the intersection of human and powered, right? And then in separate, look or for the flight. And so what do you end up with? You end up with this Venn diagram at the bottom, right? See, human and powered is this intersection here in the middle. And then flight means, well, it could be an intersection or it may not be an intersection. That's why it's an or. So that's why you can pick up everything with the flight. That's why the flight is all shaded in like that. Then you can do like these quotes here. And what the quotes does is it tells the engine to look at it as a block, right? So don't look at it as a we and then a the and the people, but look at all together as like a block, we the people, okay? So you search for the orders, you search for the words in the same order, like I said, like a block. So you treat this almost like as a unit here, like that, okay? And then you have this or constitution. Okay. And then here, this is where you're saying, well, you know, I want the tigers, but I want like the animal tigers, not the baseball tigers, right? So you say and then not baseball, right? So there'll be some intersection of tigers, which includes baseball, which is probably like the baseball team, the Tigers, but that's not what you want. You don't want the baseball side of things. So then that's why that becomes white like this when you put the not like that, okay? Now, the other thing you can do is, right on the screen, you can do advanced Google. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Okay. So you want to maybe use this if you kind of feel like it's a little bit too difficult for you to kind of come up with these complex queries like this, then you can kind of use like this screen here, and it kind of tells you, kind of walks you through how to structure what you're looking for, right? It's almost like asking you to fill out the information that you want to look for, right? As opposed to kind of putting it together on the command line or this line right here, okay? And then the other thing is kind of in more recent years, although I guess for you it's maybe not that more recently, it's mobile friendly, right? So you probably have all seen like most of our web pages now are catering to mobile phone interactions, right? Because probably 80-90% of our interaction with web pages now is going to be through the phone, right? Very small percentage is actually going through like a regular traditional desktop. So therefore, if you design a page that doesn't factor in the ability to view it or is not mobile friendly, you're going to get penalized, right? So you have this idea whether your page is a mobile friendly design. If it is, it's basically going to get ranked better. It'll come up better on your search results, okay? So this is something that is just keeping up with the times, right? This is where the technology is at right now, where most people are looking at pages on the mobile. And so when you make your page designed to work on mobile, you're just going to get points for that in terms of better page ranking. Okay. The ways that this is more historical or traditional is looking at like links to your page. Okay. So if your page B here with nothing pointed to it, you're probably not going to get that recognized, right? So you're not going to get that much of a importance in your ranking, right? But if you have some other page that's pointing to you, that kind of gets you some points there. So it increases your page rank when you have a page pointing to you. Likewise, if you have more pages pointing to you, you'll get even better on your page rank. So if you have a whole bunch of pages starting to point to you, it sounds like maybe it's an important page. So maybe your page rank will go up, right? And so that's why you have like page ABC here pointed here. It might go up a little bit. Um, and if you have like a very highly ranked page pointing to you, that gives you even more credibility. So your page rank goes up even more, right? So in this case, you have the Apple page pointing to you or the Caterpillar page pointing to you. All of a sudden your page will go up even more, okay? So that's basic introduction to web searching. Hopefully you get an idea from that and also from what you're reading in the book here. So these are the terms you should know. Make sure you understand all of these terms here and really try to look at these examples for the Venn diagrams, right? Again, this is an important topic. You're going to be asked to look at different types of searches, translate them into the Venn diagrams for your exam, okay? So try to look at these, make sure you understand how these work, and let the TAs or myself know if you don't understand that, okay? So, but this is chapter 5. So have a good night, and I'll be looking to record the final chapter for this week, which will be the introduction to HTML. All right, thank you.